Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monique. If you are new here, please do well to click on the red button below to subscribe. And to my subscribers, thank you all for always supporting me. Today we'll be learning how to make this mermaid bodycon ruffle dress. So let's get started. So I'll be using the 4 yards of crepe fabric for this tutorial. So this is the shoulder line. I'm using a pattern paper. So I'll take the shoulder width here divided by 2. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then I'll take the neck width. I'm using 3.5 inches and the depth I'm also using 3.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect it. Then from the shoulder slope I'll connect it to meet the neck width like this. So afterwards, from the shoulder slope I'll take the chest line, which is 8 inches. So I'll be taking all the vertical measurements. I'm taking the shoulder to bust point, which is 11, and shoulder to waist, which is 17. I added half an inch for seam allowance. So I'll go ahead and connect all the lines. So after doing that, on the shoulder measurement, I'm going to place it on the chest line here. Then I'll connect it to the straight line. Then I'll get the midpoint of this line. So afterward, I'll come in by 0.75. Then I'll connect it to the slant line to the shoulder width. I'll take the bust circumference, which is 38 divided by 4. It will give me 9.5. I'm adding 2 inches for seam allowance. On the waist is 31 divided by 4. It will give me 7.75. I'm adding 2 inches for seam allowance. So I'll connect the lines. After doing that, I'll connect the armhole. Now I'll be taking the bust span measurement, which is 8 inches divided by 2 to give me 4. I'm adding extra half an inch, that's 4.5 inches. So I came down by 1 inch from the bust point. Now I'll be taking half inch on both sides. So I'll go ahead and connect it like so. So now I'll be drafting the back. I've gone ahead to mark the shoulder line. So I'll take 1 inch for zipper allowance. I'm marking 1 inch for zipper allowance. Then I'll take a straight line. So afterwards, I'll take the shoulder to back half length, which is 16 inches here. So I'll come in by 0.75 to avoid zip bulge. Then from this point, I'll connect it outside the 1 inch line like so. So after doing that, I'll take the neck width, which is 3.5 inches. Then I'm using 2 inches for the neck depth of the back. So I'm going to connect the neckline. Then I'll place the front on the back like this. So I'll make sure I place it, the center front will be on this zipper line, the real zipper line like so. So I'll go ahead and reshape the back armhole because the back armhole is not as deep as the front armhole. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So after tracing it to get the back, I'll remove the front pattern. So on this part, I'll just come down. I'll go straight down. This 0.75, I'll take it all the way down. I don't need to reduce the back half length. It's not really important. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. Then next thing I'll do is to take the chest line. So I'll mark out the chest line here for the back so that I can easily draft the dart. Then I'll take 4.5 inches for the dart. So I remember I removed 0.75 here. I'll replace it back to get the 4.5 inches. Then I'll take a straight line. So I'll take half inch on both sides. Then I'll connect it to the chest line like so. So I'll cut out the neckline. So we are done with the back pattern. So I'll reshape the armhole for the front for the front armhole. Now on the neckline, I'll come down by 4 inches. I'm going to make like a little slit on the middle, like an oval shape. So I made a little mistake here, so I'm reshaping it, just a little curve, like 1/4 inch. Then you curve it out to have like an oval shape on this point. So you can go down as much as you want, but me, I used 4 inches. So when I open it up, I have something like this. This will be like this on the center of the dress. So I'll be using my basic skirt block. I've already gone ahead to draft it. I'll be placing the link on the description box on how to draft your basic skirt. So I am placing the half scale block on the skirt pattern. So I've added all the seam allowances on the pattern. So the length of the dress is 45 inches. I'm adding 2 inches for seam allowance. That's 47 inches. So now I'll draft it on the fabric. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So I'm going to notch these points to know where the dart is for the front block. So I've also cut out the front skirt. So this is our front skirt. Then this is the back of the top. We have 2 of it. Then this is the back of the skirt. So I'm going to, it's having an overlap slit. I used 2 inches here for the overlap slit. So this is the little oval shape on the neck of the front pattern. So the next thing I'll do, I'm going to fix a dart here. I've notched where the dart will be. I'll be using 1/2 inch for the dart. Then on the skirt, I'll do the same thing. I'm going to place a dart here, but I'll make sure it's aligning with the top. I'll be using 5 inches for the length of the dart. So I'll be explaining this later. So I've gone ahead to draft the basic sleeve. I'll be dropping the link on the description box. So I left 1/2 inch on the center front of the sleeve because it's going to have a slit on this part here. I'm going to fix a slit on the sleeve. It's a long sleeve actually. So I'll be explaining that later. So guys, I've fixed the dart on the skirt pattern. So this is the back pattern of the skirt. Look at the first stitch and this is the other stitch of the skirts. I've fixed my dart. So like I said, I used 2 inches for the overlap slit. I'll be dropping the link on how to draft a basic skirt with overlap slit on the description box. So now I'm going to join the top to the skirts by 1/2 inch. That's the back top and the back skirt. I'll be sewing it by 1/2 inch. So I'll repeat the same thing on the other side of the back. So on the front, I'll do the same thing. I've also joined the darts. So I'll be placing the skirt on the top. So I'll be sewing it by 1/2 inch. I'll make sure the darts are aligning. It's very important. So I'll be sewing it by 1/2 inch. So we'll have something like this when we sew it. So what I'll do, I'm going to place the back and the front together like so, because I'll be joining the shoulder, the 2 shoulders together. I'll be joining it by 1/2 inch. So I'm just trying to explain it so that, because I'm going to sew everything together, both the waist and the shoulder. So I'll be sewing it by 1/2 inch. I'll repeat the same thing for this part. Then I'll sew it and I'll come back and explain. So guys, I've gone ahead to attach the top to the skirts. We have 1 piece. So this is our dart. So this is the back panel. I did the same thing. I stitched it by 1/2 inch and I made sure the darts are aligning. So this is our shoulder. This is the other side of the shoulder. So I'll be joining the front and back panel together. But because of I'm going to place a ruffle on it, I'm going to leave the center back open for now. So I'm going to join the sides together. That's the front and back. I'll join the sides. Then I'll take the circumference measurement. So I'll take the bust circumference. My bust circumference is 38 divided by 2. So it will give me 19. So when I mark the 19, I have excess of 4 inches. So I'll divide it into 2. And I'll place 2 inches here and 2 inches here. Then on the waist is 31 divided by 4. It will give me 15.5. So I also have excess of 4 inches. So I'll place 2 inches here and on the other side. The hip is 40 inches divided by 2. It will give me 20 inches. So I still have excess of 4 inches. So I'm going to place 2 inches here and 2 inches on the other side. So I'll go ahead and mark the 2 inches all the way down. So I'll do that and I'll show you. So guys, I've gone ahead to join the sides together. So these are the 2 sides. Like I said, I left the center back open. I will need to fix the ruffles before I fix the zip. So this is the center back. As you can see, it's open. I'll be sewing it later on. Now to mark where the ruffle will be, I'm going to open it up like this. So this is the side seam. So I'm going to mark 7 inches here. Like this from the waistline. I marked 7 inches. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. From the waistline here, I'll mark 7 inches like so. So what I'll do, I'll get the center front of the dress here. On the center front, I'll mark it. This is the center front. So I'll come up by 6 inches, about 5 or 6 inches. I'll mark it here on the center front. Then what I'll do, I'm going to make like a curve. So I'm going to curve it from this point. I took the 7 inches to the center front here, like this. So I'll mark it out properly. So after doing that, I'm going to make like a V shape here. I'll continue with the mark like I'm using like a V shape. So I'll curve it all the way to meet this 7 inches mark. So before then, I'm going to measure this part here. So I have 4 inches here. Then on this part I have about 4.5 inches, so I'll take the 4 inches down like this so that it will tally with the other curve. So now I'm going to mark the 4.5 inches here. Then it will guide me on marking the curve I'm making so that it will tally with the other side of the curve. So I'll also check it. I'll check this point. So I'll use like 8 inches. Then I'll check the curve. I have about 7 inches. So I'll check what I have here. So I still need about half an inch extra here. So I'll reshape it so that it will tally with the other curve. So on this lower part, I'll still check what I have here to know if it's accurate. So I'll check the other side. As you can see, it's accurate. I have 9 inches. So on this overlap slit, I'll take a straight line. That's on the back panel. So I'll make another curve to meet these points like this. But I'll take 1 inch in here on the center back. I'll take 1 inch in. So I'm sewing it before the 1 inch because I'm going to join the center back. So I'll just curve it out properly like this. So to get an accurate curve for the other side, I'll mark what I have here. So I have about 2 inches and 4 inches. So the length here is 2 inches like this. Then the width is 4 inches. So I'll mark it out. Then I'll make the curve. Then on the center back, that is before the overlap slit, I'm going to take another straight line. Then I'll come in by 1 inch because I'm going to sew that part by 1 inch. So the curve is going to form like so to this point, like a V shape here, like this. So I'll check to be sure that the curve I made is accurate. So I have about 7.5 here. So I'll check on the other side if I have the same thing. So I actually have 7.5, so it's accurate. So our curve is accurate. So now I'm going to make a ruffle. I'll measure what I have here all the way round. And I have about 100 inches. So I'm going to cut a strip of fabric and times it by 3 to have about 300 inches for the ruffles. So I'm going to hem the lower side here by half an inch. So the length of the strip is about 12 inches. So by the time I hem it, I'll be left with about 11 inches. So I cut out about 4 strips of fabric to make up the 300 inches length of strip I need. I hope you understand. So I'll be joining the strips together to make up for the 300 inches length I need for the ruffles. So after doing that, I'm going to make a loose stitch on my sewing machine to form the ruffles. That's to gather the ruffles I need, and I'll show you when I'm done. So I've gone ahead to hem the lower side by half an inch. So I folded it by half an inch all the way to the end here. Then on this other side, I made a loose stitch with the sewing machine. I made a loose stitch, so I'll be dragging it to form my ruffles. So I'll start pulling it. I'll pick one of the threads and I'll pull it out because it's very light. I made a loose stitch, so I'll pull it out until I have about 100 inches for the length of the curve I made. So I'm done stitching it. I also top stitch it so that it will stay firm. So I'll start fixing it here on the back, from the back here. So I'll turn it over. That is good side will be on the good side of the dress. So I'll place it like so. So I'll start pinning it up. So I'll make sure I'm following these curve lines. So I'll go ahead and pin it up before I'll take it to the sewing machine to stitch. I'm just showing you how you are going to sew your ruffles. So the good side of the ruffles will be on the good side of the dress. Then you turn it over so that it will cover the stitch. So this is what I'll have when I sew it like this. So when I open it up, I'll have something like this. So I'll continue fixing the ruffles until I get to the end of the other side of the back. Then I'll show you. So guys, I've gone ahead to fix the ruffles to the dress. So this is what I did. So this is the V shape I made. So this is the part I stitched good side to the good side of the dress, and I turned it over to cover it. So this is the back. Remember, the back is open. So I left 1 inch for the zipper allowance, remember, before fixing the ruffles. So what I'll do, I'm going to join it together. So I'll turn it over, good side to good side. Then I'm going to measure where the zipper will stop. So I want the zip to stop at about 22 inches. So I'm going to mark 22 inches here, like this. So I'll be stitching this part by 1 inch all the way down. Then let me pin it up. So I'll be sewing it by 1 inch. So when I get to this point, I'll cross it over here to the end. So let me also pin this side. So I'll sew it by 1 inch. When I get to this point and cross it, I'll now sew it by ½ an inch. Then we'll have something like this when we're done. So we'll have something like this. So this is the V shape on the back here. So guys, I've gone ahead to stitch the center back, and I stopped where I want the zipper to be. So I've gone ahead to mark 1 inch for where my zipper will be fixed. So I'll go ahead and show you. So I'll be showing you how to fix your zip. So the good side of the zip will be on the good side of the dress. I'll come in by ½ an inch. So my zipper will be on this ½ inch line here. So I'll place the good side of the zip here, the good side here. I'll place it on this 1 inch mark that is on the good side of the main fabric. So I'll start sewing it here like this. On this point, I'll start sewing it all the way down. So make sure you sew very close to the center of the zip. So I'm using my zipper foot to achieve this. So after sewing this, the next thing I'll do, because it has a half length here, remember, on the waist, I'll mark the waist out. I'll mark it out where the waistline is. Then I'll place the second side of the panel. I'll place it on the second waistline so that it will align. So look at how I'm placing it after I marked it with a chalk to know where it will be, so that it will align properly. So I'll start sewing it from the lower part, that's the zipper. I'll start sewing it from the lower part all the way to the top of the dress. So this is our zip. As you can see on the waistline, it's aligning. So we are done with our zip. So the next thing I'm going to do, I cut another strip of fabric. I cut it by 1.5 inches. Another strip of fabric for the neckline. I cut it by 1.5 inches, and on the fold I have 3/4 inches. So I'll be using it to pipe the neckline here all the way. So I'll place it on the wrong side. I'll place the strip on the wrong side. I'll sew it by 1/4 inch like this. So I'll sew it all the way to the other end of the neckline. So this is what I have. So I'll top stitch it. I'll fold it like so. I'll turn it to the good side like this. Then I'll top stitch on it very, very close to the strip. I'll top stitch on it. So this is what I have. This is the outcome. So it's going to be like this. So I'm going to secure this part with a pin so that I can pipe it all the way round, because another strip of fabric is going to go all the way round on the neckline. So I'll start placing it from this point. That's from the zipper line here. That's where the zip starts. I'll place it all the way to the end. I'm sewing it from the wrong side. Then I'll turn it over to the good side, like so. So I'm ending it at the other side of the zip. So I'll go ahead, sew it. So this is the part I stitched. As you can see, I secured the center front with a pin. So I'm folding it, I'm turning it to the good side. So I'll sew it also by 1/4 inch, and I'll show you. So guys, I've turned the neckline. As you can see, it's looking very neat. I piped it. So this is the center front. So I use the second strip to turn it over. So now I'll be closing the zipper. I'll cut this excess, fold it like this, and I'll top stitch on it here. I'll top stitch here and show you. So guys, I've gone ahead to top stitch it. I've top stitched the other side. So our zipper is now secured with on the neckline. So this is the outcome of the zipper and the neckline. Now I'll be folding the hemline. That's the full length. I'll fold it by 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. So I'll sew it all the way around to the end. So now on the sleeve, this is the sleeve. I've slashed it into two. I've slashed it into 2 equal half. Remember I told you I left 1/2 inch extra for seam allowance. So on the beginning here, I came down by 4 inches. So I stopped the slits by 4 inches. So I'll be piping it with a bias or another strip of fabric. So I'll be piping it all the way to the end. But if you don't want to pipe it, you can also fold it like this. Then you refold it again. Then you sew it all the way round. But I'll advise that you use a bias or a strip of fabric to pipe it. It makes it look neater. I've also gone ahead to cut out a band. It's the wrist round. I use my wrist round to cut out the band. So the band is on a fold. I added interfacing to the band to make it firm. So on a fold is 2 inches, as you can see. So I'm going to open it up like so. Then I'll turn it over and I'll sew it by 1/2 inch. I forgot to mention I used my wrist round to cut it and I left 1/2 inch for seam allowance. The wrist round is 9 inches. So on a fold is 4.5 inches. So I'm going to turn it like so. So I'll have something like this for the wrist round. So I've gone ahead to join the side seam of the sleeve. So this is the side seam and this is the part of the slit. I've also piped it all the way. So I'll tuck in the band like so. I'll tuck it in. Then I'll sew it round. So I've done both sleeves. I've fixed the band. So now I'll be fixing it to the dress. So I'll tuck it in like this. So good side to good side, and I'll make sure the side seam are aligning. Then I'll sew it all the way around by 1/2 inch. I'll do the same thing for the second sleeve and I'll show you when I'm done. So guys, we are done with the dress. So this is the back of the ruffles. So this is the hemline on the full length. So this is our sleeve. So this is the part, the slit side and the band. So our dress is ready. So this is the side I joined on the band all the way around by 1/2 inch. So we've come to the end of these tutorials. I hope these tutorials was helpful. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share and comment. Thanks for watching.